Okay, students, today's class is about foreignization strategy. Who can tell me about foreignization? Adia? Papia, can you tell me about foreignization?
Ma'am, foreignization.
আচ্ছা তাহলে আশিক মাহমুদ বলো foreignization.
Ma'am, I have no idea.
মানে পরীক্ষা দিয়েছিলাম না foreignization? Foreignization, domestication, it was in your class test syllabus. Okay, translation process where the translator will highlight on the mode of author. Okay, the mode of writing the author. That is, in foreignization, the writer should think about the audience. Writer should think about the readers. Okay, writer should think about the readers, readers' taste, readers' age, readers' culture. So in translating time, when the translator will see the author, that is the writer of a text, what is his attitude towards the reader? Okay, if it is author to reader, then it will be called foreignization. But some text there will be some opposite mode will be found. That is, reader will think about the reader's perspective. The writing will be done. That is, first foreignization was author will thinking about the reader. Here in domestication time, the reader will, when they read the passage, they will think about the author's life, author's taste, author's view, author's age, like that. Okay. So when we read Shakespeare's works, we need to make paraphrasing first. Then we need to go through Shakespeare's age, that is 16th century age, his customs, his culture, English life, we need to know. So this is called domesticating. Okay. Foreignization means that is when Shakespeare think about the readers. Okay. That is the reader's age, reader's view of life. Some text of Shakespeare is written on foreignization, some are on domestication view. Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
foreignization is a strategy. Today's class we will read. Okay. Who is Venuti? A translator linguist. A translator linguist. Okay. So let's start the class reading the text. Venuti shows an example of how foreignization. I am recording, okay? So after hearing the lecture, you can also create your own note. Venuti shows an example of how foreignization can be a part of a nationalist strategy. So Venuti shows an example how foreignization can be a part of a nationalist strategy, okay, which can build up a national culture. So the first list key example how foreignization can become a part of a nationalist strategy, okay, in order to build up a national culture. Foreignization করতে যে national strategy, যেমন ইংল্যান্ডের স্ট্র্যাটেজিটা কি, in order to build up a national culture, ইংলিশ কালচারটা ট্রান্সলেশন করার সময়, okay, you should know. Venuti shows an example of how foreignization can be a part of a nationalist strategy, which can build up a national culture. Okay. He gives an example of Frederick Schleiermacher, a German translation theorist. Okay, Schleiermacher viewed translation as an important practice. Schleiermacher viewed translation as an important practice. Viewed translation as an important practice in the Prussian nationalist movement. Okay. So he gives an example. যে first sentence ছিল যে foreignization can be a part of a nationalist strategy that can build up a national culture. He gives an example. The Venuti gives an example of a German translator theorist, Schleiermacher. Schleiermacher কি বলেছে? He viewed translation as an important practice in the Prussian nationalist movement. Yes, sir, national movement তৈরি করে দিয়েছে। He also remarked that foreignization could also increase in foreignization could also enable German culture to realize its historical destiny of global domination. It's understood, that is, Schleiermacher also said that the foreignization can also enrich the German language by developing an elite literature, good literature, and also enable German culture to realize its historical destiny. History থেকে আনার a historical work translation, and it will represent the global domination. It will be a part of global work. Thus, Schleiermacher's decision to foreignize is motivated by similar feelings that Lamb had in his domestication mission. So what Schleiermacher believes, it also motivated by similar feelings of Lamb in his domesticating mission. Schleiermacher says about foreignization, and Lamb says the same feeling in domesticating mission. The first part থেকে আমরা কি পেলাম? Venuti, foreignization. Okay. Venuti shows an example of how foreignization can be a part of a national strategy, and that can build up national culture. He gives an example of a German translation theorist, Frederick Schleiermacher. Frederick Schleiermacher viewed translation as an important practice in the Prussian nationalist movement. He also said that the foreignization can also enrich the German language by developing the elite literature, the ভালো literature. Okay, literature for the elite class হতে হবে। German language foreignization দিয়ে it can enrich the German language by developing an elite literature and thus enable German culture to realize its historical destiny of global domination. Okay. Schleiermacher's decision about foreignization is motivated by the similar feelings of Lamb, but he had the same feeling he activated in domesticating mission. He said about domestication, that is, reader should think about the author. সেটার ক্ষেত্রে foreignization can also be included. Okay. Next. Schleiermacher believed that a translator should bring the target language reader to the source text by creating the same effect. Okay. A translator should bring the target language reader to the source text by creating the same effect. That is, what is present in source text that should be present in the target language. Same feeling should be present, same result should be found. in both target language and source text. So the source text had on its readers. That is foreignization. Source text had the feelings of the readers. Okay. Venuti points out how it is essentially ethnocentric or catering to the target language values. Okay. Target language এর কোথাও emphasize দিতে হবে। Okay. The text, okay, the source text. Kingmaker believed that a translator should bring the target language reader to the source text. Okay. And the source text had on its readers. He also added that the source text retained its national foreignness even in translation too. The foreignness that থাকবে even it is translated. Okay, that is author to the reader. The concept should be, the view should be upon the reader's feelings. The writing, the translation part should highlight on reader's taste, reader's age, reader's circumstance, like that. Okay. এই জিনিসটা আবার দেখছি, Kingmaker believed that a translator should bring the target language reader to the source text by creating the same effect. Just a minute. Hello? Follow. ম্যাডাম আপনি কি ঠিক করে দেন, আমি কি কি হবে উড হবে পাঠ হবে আমি বুঝতেছি না। কি ম্যাডাম তো ক্লাস নিচ্ছে, আমার একটা পর্যন্ত ক্লাস, একটা পর্যন্ত ক্লাস, একটা দুটো। তাহলে আমি অন্য কোয়েশ্চেন দিয়ে দিই, আমি অন্য কোয়েশ্চেন দিয়ে দিই। আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আমি দেখি। হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আমি শেষ করে দিই। ঠিক আছে ম্যাডাম। স্টুডেন্ট, আমাকে ক্লাসটা একটু ছোট করে নিতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? এটা আমি অফলাইন ক্লাসে আবার শুরু করবো, এই ক্লাসেও আমি বলবো, একটু ইম্পর্টেন্ট কাজ হয়ে গেছে।
Okay, ma'am.
Kingmaker believed that a translator should bring the target language reader to the source text, okay, by creating the same effect. And the source text retain its essential foreignness even in translation. Okay, even in translation. So the translation would. So the translation, though it is foreignized, cannot escape foreignized elements. Okay. So the translation, even when it is foreignized, cannot escape the target language. Translation টা foreignize করার পরেও it should not escape from the target language issue. Foreignizing then becomes a very elitist strategy with only the educated class being able to recognize. Okay. Then an educated elite controls the formation of a national concept. Educated elites controls the formation of a national culture by refining its language through colonizing translations. ঠিক আছে?
জি ম্যাম।
This is about one. Newman and Arnold. Vanity gives another example of the foreignizing strategy in an Englishman of the 19th century, and his name is Francis Newman, 1805 to 1897. Newman was the brother of the famous educationist Francis Newman. As a translator, he challenged the fluency concept in English translation, and he was among the Victorians to advocate foreignizing in translation. So among the Victorian poets or writers, he is the first to advocate for foreignizing in translation. And Newman was a rebel, okay, and he advocated for women suffering, abolition of slavery, and criticized colonialism. আবার বলছি, Vanity gives other example of foreignizing strategy taken by an Englishman of the 19th century, that is Francis Newman. He, as a translator, he challenged the fluency concept in English translation. And he was one of the first among the Victorians to advocate foreignizing in translation. He was a rebel. He advocated for women's suffrage, abolition of slavery, and criticized colonialism. Okay. His translations, unlike, was not liked by Skinnaker because his translations were meant for the ordinary person who did not belong to classical elite, who were not the elite class of England. Okay. But Newman advocated a translation method that would assert the differences between the source and target text. Rather, his writing, his translation reflect the archaism. Archaism মানে কি বলতো? Archaism মানে old words. যেমন আমাদের সংস্কৃত ওয়ার্ড, আমরা যে ট্রান্সলেশন করি, if we advocate for Sanskrit translation, will it be acceptable by the modern writers? Archaism কি এখনকার দিনে চলবে? পুরানো সংস্কৃত ওয়ার্ড দিয়ে যদি বাংলা লেখা শুরু করি, এটা কি হবে? অথবা রবীন্দ্রনাথের বাংলা দিয়ে কি এখন স্টোরি লিখলে হবে? চলবে না তো, এটা এখন আর্কাইজম হয়ে গেছে। So English people didn't like Newman's translation. Okay. But he was not concerned about historical accuracy in the matter of recreating the archaic style. Historical accuracy সে সেটা বজায় রাখতে পারলো। So which resulted in artificiality constructed archaism. Okay. Vanity gives another example of the foreignizing strategist taker of English poet in 19th century, Francis Newman. He was also a translator theorist. He challenged the fluency concept in English literature, English translation. He challenged the fluency concept in English translation, and he was the first Victorian to advocate foreignizing in translation. He was a rebel. He advocated for women suffering, abolition of slavery, and criticized colonialism. He was a liberalist, but his writing is meant for common people, ordinary people. He has no connection with the classical scholar. But Skinnaker criticized that Newman has translation full of archaic words. Okay, so his translation is based on archaic style, which resulted in an artificiality constructed archaism. Okay.
ম্যাম তাহলে ফরেনাইজেশন এটা লিখতে গেলে হচ্ছে আমরা ওই যে অ্যাজ এন এক্সাম্পল
ওগুলো এক্সাম্পল
ফরেনাইজেশন
সব।
এক্সাম্পল হিসেবে
হুম,
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ভ্যানিটি এটা উল্লেখ করব না অ্যাজ এন এক্সাম্পল
হুম। Critics were not happy with Newman's translation because he was un-English. Okay. The person who was very unhappy about Newman's technique was Matthew Arnold, the Victorian poet. Okay. He attacked Newman's translation of the Iliad in a lecture series delivered in 1860. Arnold did not agree with Newman's principle. He wanted that translation. He was of the view that there should be complete identification with the original text. The target language original text and identification should be present. Okay. A translator should not allow the current English methods to define Homer. In writing, the translation of Homer's works, the modern writing should not be present. Okay, should not be as easy as like commoners. It should not be. The language should be dignified. So Venuti underlines the Christian Platonic metaphysics of Arnold, who believed in complete meaning equivalence, complete semantic equivalence. Okay. Arnold felt that only those who were scholars in Greek literature, they are dignified to write the translation of Homer. Greek scholars, they should translate, okay, Homer's works. Okay. Arnold comes across an academic who was opposed to populism of any sort. Okay. Arnold was in favor of high culture, elite culture. Arnold resembles Skimaker, who wished to build up an elite culture in Germany through foreignizing translations. So Arnold's voice echo the same ideas of Skimaker because Arnold advocates for high culture. Okay. High culture সম্পর্কে সে বলেছে। So to some extent, Arnold resembles Skimaker to build up a high standard culture in Germany through foreignizing translation. Translation for Arnold was a means of to empower an academic elite, to endow it with a national cultural authority. Okay, এতটুকু পর্যন্ত বললেই হবে। Conclusion. It is valuable because it adopts a comprehensive view of translation by locating it in the context in which it is produced and in the personality of the translator. The foreignization strategy is very important because it adopts a comprehensive view of the translation because it focuses on the context in which it is produced and it is it depends on the personality of the translator also. Venuti points out that all translations are acts of ethnocentric violence. ঠিক আছে, মানে লোকাল ভায়োলেন্স থাকবে, ethnocentric violence on the source text. This is a debatable point. About the practice of translation. So last কি বললো? It is valuable because it adopts a comprehensive view of translation and it is based on the context in which it is produced, and it should highlight the personality of the translator. And Venuti is essentially pointing out that all translations are acts of ethnocentric violence. Okay, on the source text. Source text উপর ভিত্তি করে the local flavor should be present. This is a debatable point about the practice of translation. Okay. So আমরা যে জিনিসটা জানলাম এখান থেকে, that one is national heritage should be there. Okay. Then it should have foreignization flavor and also domesticating view too. Then that gentleman, okay, Newman, he says about he questions about the translation in the foreignizing translation in English books. Okay, but what he did, he used archaic words which make the language artificial, and Schemaker did not like it, and he said it is un-English. Then the 18th century, okay, Newman was 18th century translator. The 19th century Matthew Arnold came, and he also didn't like Newman's translation of Iliad. He said Iliad should be translated by Greek people. Okay, Greek literature should be translated by Greek elites. Okay, so that the feelings will come up from the source text. Then Venuti observes translation for Arnold was a means to empower an academic elite, to endow with the national cultural authority থাকবে, যেমন if Iliad is translated by Greek people, then they will shower their feelings of their own identity, their national culture flavor should be there. But when an Englishman translates Iliad, okay, he will write about the English countryside, the Englishman, the authenticity, that is domesticating value and foreignizing value will lose. Foreignizing strategy will not be effective here. So foreignization is very important, valuable thing, and it makes a translation work comprehensive, and it is the ethnocentric violence based on the source text. Okay, and this is a debatable point about the practice of translation. আচ্ছা, আজকের ক্লাস এখানেই ছেড়ে দিতে হচ্ছে, আমাকে ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে একটু কাজ দিয়েছে, আই নিড টু ডু। তোমরা এটা ব্রড কোশ্চেন এখনই বানিয়ে ফেলো, ইট ইজ ইওর হোমওয়ার্ক। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। How many are you present? I am going to
15.
take your
15 জন।
attendance-টা নিচ্ছি।
ম্যাম, যেই টপিকটা এখন পড়ালেন এটা কি আমাদেরকে এক্সামে থাকবে?
অবশ্যই থাকবে, এক্সাম ছাড়া কিছু পড়াবো আমি এখন? ওইটা ড্রাইডেন্স ডিভাইস, এটা তো আগে। মডার্ন ট্রান্সলেশন এটাও আগের, কিছুটা আমি নেক্সট ক্লাসে পড়াবো অল্প একটু। এই তিনটা থেকে যে কোনো একটা কি দুইটা কমন আসবে মিডটার্ম। আচ্ছা,
ড্রাইডেন্স ডিভাইস যেটা, ওইটা কি কন্ট্রিবিউশন অফ ড্রাইডেন্স এরকম কিছু?
হ্যাঁ 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 ওইটাই।
ওকে ম্যাম।
আজকে তারিখ কত? 10।
Yes, ma'am.
মুজান, নওশিন, মালিহা প্রেজেন্ট?
Yes, ma'am.
রুমি আক্তার,
ইয়েস ম্যাম।
শাওন দে, শুভ্র দে প্রেজেন্ট, অ্যাবসেন্ট। আফিয়া সুলতানা?
Yes, ma'am.
অপসরা নায়ার মৃত্তিকা? অ্যাবসেন্ট। হাফসা রশিদ?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
আশিক মাহমুদ?
Yes, ma'am.
মনীষা আক্তার? অ্যাবসেন্ট। পাপিয়া সুলতানা? প্রেজেন্ট।
Yes, ma'am.
Nurun Nahar, present.
Yes, ma'am.
Sadia Yasmin, Sadia, absent. Lazina Arjun Moniha, absent. Umme Samma, absent.
Yes, ma'am.
Present.
Salma, ma'am.
আচ্ছা নুসরাত জাহান, absent. শাহিদা আফরোজ মুন, absent. ফিরোজাল মামুন, absent. ফারজানা ইয়াসমিন,
Yes, ma'am.
present. আল মাহমুদ, absent. মাসুদ রানা,
Yes, ma'am.
present. সুমনা সরকার, absent. সাদিয়া তুস্তায়েবা, absent. আব্দুল্লাহ আল নোমান, present.
Yes, ma'am.
মইনুদ্দিন, absent. সুলতানা সাবরিনা সুক্তি,
Yes, miss.
present. মাহফুজা পারভিন,
Present, ma'am.
present. মাকসুদুর রহমান, absent. খাদিজা খাতুন প্রমি, absent. সাদিয়া সুলতানা মহুয়া, absent. ইশরাত জাহান তোয়া,
Yes, ma'am.
present. সাইমা রহমান, সাইমা, absent. সাদমান খান, absent. প্রমি আবার এখন জয়েন করেছেন, ক্লাস শেষ করে দিচ্ছে, এখন জয়েন করে কি হবে? প্রমি, হোয়াট ইজ ইউর আইডি নাম্বার?
ম্যাম অ্যাবসেন্ট তো।
দেখলাম ও আবার এন্টার করছে। আচ্ছা, আমার ক্লাস এখনই শেষ হয়ে যাবে, লেস দেন 1 মিনিট।
ম্যাম 62 প্রমি।
60, what is her number? 66, 62,
G, miss.
62. তুমি এখন জয়েন করেছো? ম্যাডাম একটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ কাজে ম্যাডাম বের হয়ে যাচ্ছি, ক্লাস নিতে পারছি না, রেকর্ডিংটা থেকে দেখে নিও। ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। ওকে,
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম।